What's good? What's good? What's good in the hood? And welcome back to another episode of the Good in the Hood podcast. I am, as always, your host, Juice. This time, man, joined with another great friend of mine, great inspiration of mine, man, the homie Jay Caves, of course, from Chicago, man, heart of the city. You see the logo, you see the merch, man. How you feeling, bro?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Justin?
Man, I'm doing great, bro. Appreciate you for coming on, man. Definitely an honor to get you on here, honestly. I was actually kind of like, man, shout out to Caves, man. Caves got a big time, you know what I'm saying? Bro got his own studio now, you know what I'm saying? What's we'll get from you, bro? I appreciate the love,
Man,
bro.
always. No, we'll make some time.
Absolutely, man.
Appreciate it.
And in case for those who don't know, man, Jay Caves is a director who's directed some of your favorite music videos. If you are a fan of any local Chicago music or just hip hop in general, really. You did work from Saba to J Bro, Bugatti, and you've done a lot more things in between. If you can just give a brief introduction to yourself, bro, because your resume is much longer than I can ever begin.
For sure. Yeah, I grew up in the west side of Chicago in the Humboldt Park, Hermosa neighborhood. And I started doing videos at 17. I got blessed to go to Brown University for a program. And there was a college program for 3 weeks when I was in high school. Went out there, came back with like that passion just to continue doing filmmaking, and found some after school managed programs like Street Level Youth Media Chicago, and kept honing my craft. By the time I was 18, 19, I was working with Saba, GLC, man, a lot of dope musicians in Chicago, the Oh My's. I was blessed I got to even do behind the scenes for Vic Mensa and Chance the Rapper when the new Chicago scene was on the rise, when they were talking about the Renaissance of Chicago, so I was blessed to be able to be part of that era, and still having the brand around to this day is a blessing, because I didn't think we'll be able to take it this far. A lot of ups and downs, but being able to always bounce back and be creative in what's happening in this current times,
Absolutely, man. And what was the thing that got you to pick up the camera for the first time? What got you to fall in love with being behind the camera?
Yeah, storytelling. It's funny because the first time I used a camera was a VHS camera. Freshman year, we're doing like a Romeo and Juliet play. This is so random. I never even shared the story. Sorry, people are like texting me. But basically, our teacher assigned us for English class to basically do a video on Romeo and Juliet scene. And we did that. We did it at the park across the street from the school in the hood. It was just like so ratchet and terrible. One of the worst pieces, but that like sparked it, like, okay, like this was fun. Like, imagine doing this like all the time, but we didn't have access to that kind of stuff, like real equipment or real computers. Like, I don't even know how we even edited that piece, to be honest, because we didn't have no computers at the school for real like that. But my older brother, Jonathan, he was a big inspiration too, because he was a big movie buff growing up. And my dad would take us to Blockbuster on the weekends. Besides us playing sports, what we would do is watch movies and, play video games. But going to Blockbuster was like such a beautiful routine that like it kind of nurtured me into filmmaking at an early age, where I just been blessed, bro. Like, honestly, for being a kid growing up in, Humboldt Park and Hermosa, we don't have those kind of things around, and me being able to find a way through all that, like many others in my neighborhood, and many other people who come from Chicago public schools, we all had to find ways to make a way for in the creative field, at least.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So when you went on that opportunity trip to Brown University, and were able to engage and actually get a bigger look into this career path, did you see yourself going the path of music director or music video director?
100%. Yeah, 100%. I was so before Brown, like in elementary school, we will watch. It was, of course, we had MTV TRL, and then we had BET 106 in Park. And then outside of that, when we didn't have cable, we would watch the box. So the box was like a huge influence, all those things. So we would get, I was a hybrid of like hip hop and alternative rock music, because that's what all these stations would play. Not necessarily BET, but of course like MTV and the box was so like a wide range of genres. So like I was watching music videos from Red Hot Chili Peppers to, you know, Notorious B.I.G., Tupac, and, you know, even random like Backstreet Boys, NSYNC. Of course, Eminem, and I remember being in third grade watching The Real Slim Shady on, you know, TRL, and all those things kind of just inspired me to want to be in that field. Music videos has always been like a goal. Filmmaking has always been the end goal, like being a movie director. And so now just kind of implementing everything I've learned from that side of things, and now implementing into being an actual filmmaker.
Absolutely. So when you got out of high school, got out of college, and were in the path of networking and just getting to build establish a reputation for yourself, like what was the kicking part? What was the point that made you really get networking and get your name out there?
Man, it's funny. I'm such a like shy, awkward person that networking to me was always out of my comfort zone, but I had to do it because it was the only way to really get known in the city as far as like this guy does videos. But my goal and intention was actually never to be like a wedding videographer or like commercial videographer. I was strictly like, oh, I'm doing music videos and movies. That was always it. But in reality, that was not the smartest approach. So being able to have those networks is important, because you got to have ways for people to know where you're, you know, who is this person and what's the company doing, you know, and you got to have people to vouch for you outside of yourself. But ways that I was able to do that, I interned for companies. I was interning for Have You Seen These Kids? They were a production company they're the ones that did the Cool Kids Black Mags. GL Joe, he directed that. His brother Anthony Esquivel, and a bunch of guys that were part of that team that they groomed me. I was able to intern with them at 19, 20 when I was at Bradley. So I would come out here for the summer, and while I was doing my own thing on the side, I was actually interning for them, and they had me painting walls. They had me scrubbing floors. Like I was doing real intern work. And then when they'll bring me on set, they'll let me get to know like everyone in the production team. So like everyone kind of like gave me a little bit of their flavor. So I was able to bring that back to my own productions. And by the grace of God, Anthony actually did this logo. So this iconic logo was actually done by Anthony Esquivel, and he's a motion graphics artist. He now lives in New York. But he did Chance the Rapper's Smoke Again music video as well for the visual effects. Him and I actually, he was getting booked by Ill Roots at the time. So Ill Roots booked him to do the Mac Miller and Schoolboy Q G's video. This is the visual effects. And we actually did that at our studio together. He hired me to be the assistant animator. And this was back in 2012 when we were up north in Fort Knox. So we had a studio there, and Anthony and I knocked that video out while, you know, such a blessing to be able to work on stuff, even if I didn't get to meet these people directly, you know, but it opened a lot of doors through my network, you know, and that's a great example how like coming out of your comfort zone and finding like like-minded people who actually elevate your career, because those same people actually even put me in the door with GLC, because they had a music producer on their team named JP, who was part of Blended Babies. And JP, he liked what I was doing, and he seen potential and linked me with GL because they had a record together, and we did Custom Details. It was a record called Custom Detail with him and Tennille. And that's crazy, bro. Like everything kind of like one thing led to another, and Heart of the City was already rolling really quickly, fastly, you know. And we had videos with another artist named Young Gifts and Tree. That record got our Complex and a lot of other blogs quickly. And then from there, I was able to work with Saba, and he was already making a wave in the city. So his first record was produced by such and such from Save Money. and that was the first video we did together. And like it
Established
was
nigga, great record.
that,
Facts.
yeah, yep. So that
Yeah,
was the first
man.
time I met all the Pivot Gang. I met John Doe for the first time, and that was dope because that was the same situation. I was still at Bradley, and I drove out to do the video, and really with no plan. We weren't really like, yo, let's get these. We didn't have a treatment. We were just like, let's pull up in Fulton Market, which is crazy. I'm in Fulton Market now, but we pulled up over here in Fulton Market, had my Ford Escort, and we just made it happen, man. And it was a classic video for a start, for two young artists that we didn't have nothing, and to see where we've taken it is a blessing.
Absolutely, and that was a great summary of your start. But man, you left out an essential part that I feel like that I would love the people to really get an idea into. And you talked about yourself getting an internship and how Anthony was able to help you from there. But in order for him to help you, I'm sure you had to bust your ass to get shown.
Yeah, definitely. You have to build trust and rapport with people. You have to be on time, and in the creative field, like as you become an adult, you realize a lot of people smoke weed, and like while that became normalized in my life when it wasn't before, it still wasn't. This wasn't the hangout. This is still work. Even if they smoke weed around you or smoke weed with you, and it's one of those things where you really have to realize that this is still a job and people are relying on you, and you have to be prepared. So that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned in this industry. You have to be prepared and don't overextend yourself if you can't do something.
Absolutely. Absolutely, that's a gem that everyone needs to definitely write down right there. And so
Yeah.
when you were able to like work through that internship, and you were able to start building these these connections, when did Heart of the City, like when the idea of Heart of the City into your mind, and when did you start putting the works into motion for that?
Yeah. So junior and senior year of college, we were doing business classes for the media production side, and one of our classes we had to create a business, and I called it the Blue Line Inc. This is so random. I just gave it a general basic name just so I could get this project done. But afterwards, I brought that business plan, and I was like, yo, I like this idea. Essentially, the business plan was creating a live TV show where we would also be a blog and do our own music videos and showcase new artists while we're doing live stuff of all, basically doing what MTV and BET used to do and bring it back, because this was like 2011, 2010, 2011, around that time period. I graduated 2012, and so when I came back home, we were already doing all these things, and I was pitching the idea to my brother. He's like, "What about Heart of the City? Why don't we name it that?" And we all listened to Blueprint. Kanye produced that track with Jay-Z, and being Chicagoans, we really took that track and we gravitated towards it.
Yeah.
And I honestly told my brother, no, I'm like, that's kind of lame. I told him, I said, that's corny. And I walked out the car and I went to my other guy's crib, Chris Ill, who we were working with at the time too. And I was like, I told Chris the idea. He's like, yo, that's hard. And I'm like, you think so? And he was like, yeah, that's hard. And I walked back into my brother's car. I'm like, hey, I think you're right. It's Heart of the City. So like, that's where it locked in, So I had a good group of guys around me, and the name, took shape right there. And then I started designing the logo. And the logo I had designed was basically a generic form of this. And I sent my concepts to Anthony, and Anthony basically brought this to life and brought this beautiful classic,
Yeah, man. And for those listening and not watching, man, the Heart of the City logo. I mean, I remember when I first met you. The first thing I probably told you was, man, that logo was crazy. That logo, like it's so saying, it's the heart, in the bottom of the heart is Chicago skyline, man. It's yeah, man. It's
big
definitely working out for sure. And to see, like, one thing that's truly inspirational about you is that you do not box yourself in solely as you're just the music director. Like you always from the start kind of always had an idea of wanting to be bigger and better. Like you talked about wanting to be like BET as far as building a media brand and along with the production. So what got you? What brought you your mind there as one to? I know you said you wanted to tell stories. So like just get more into detail as far as telling the stories in a multifaceted way.
Yeah. So I mean, for me growing up in Chicago, many of us that come from either the West or South Side, we come from rough neighborhoods that, you know, we don't see our stories on TV. So I really want to be able to give a voice to people who aren't necessarily being shown and represented on television. And while yeah, there's plenty of movies about, you know, like Boys in the Hood, or, you know, we could even say Goodfellas, you know, even though that's a movie about Italians, but same kind of concept of that kind of, you know, life. So for me, like, telling those kind of stories, like, I didn't see that until I seen those movies. Then another movie that inspired me was City of God, and that's about I don't know if you've seen that movie, but
of course.
okay, bet. Yeah, so with anyone hasn't seen it, it's about these kids in Brazil that they basically growing up from 13 to their early teens, where they're in gangs and stuff. And crazy movie, gotta watch it. Dope coming of age story. And seeing these movies, it really inspired me to be able to tell stories that haven't been told, as far as like coming from these rough environments and me wanting to not be one of those statistics from that environment. So like that really kind of pushed me forward as far as like going to school and doing it on my own, because school only teaches you so much. You have to really apply it on your own. So I was very much self-motivated, you know, and movies has always been an outlet for me to escape reality, and in a good way though too, not just like numb. Like for me, it was lessons. It's been watching movies since a kid to an adult, and watching some of these movies as an adult. Like, of course, you got Lion King, or for me, Disney is such a big influence on me too. And Disney actually grew up in my neighborhood of Hermosa. He was born and raised in Hermosa. Yeah, so not a lot of people know that, and he was only there to, I believe, like 3 or 4 years old, maybe a little younger. I'm not sure, but he was, you know, it's symbolic in a way. So
Sure.
Having that information like that was always inspirational, and basically wanting to aspire for that. I think it sounds crazy to people because if they've never done it, you know, of course, and when you're looking at stuff from a microscope, you know, it's like, well, you don't have no money, you don't have no resources. How are you going to do this? You know, but if you have heart and you got passion, you could do things that a lot of people say you can't. You have to really see through your stuff and not give up. And so for me, that's what really inspires me to be a filmmaker now, is a lot of things that I've seen growing up, my family, my peers, and now, you know, everything that we're seeing on the news and television and the internet with the gun violence between whether it's CPD or the actual gangs in Chicago. For me, I feel like there's a responsibility on my behalf as a creative to give the youth stories that could show them the true reality of consequences in this lifestyle, and at the same time that you don't have to be that you could go to school and you could, you know, you don't have to be a filmmaker, you don't have to be a musician, but you could, you know, aspire for something beyond what we have in our four, you know, corners of our blocks.
Sure. And I always think, like, I remember, like, your you did a series, I believe, or a video, Welcome to the City, I believe, right?
Welcome to Chicago, which I'm going to continue that for sure. Yeah,
absolutely. And so I'll always you kind of show those glimpses of wanting to be more than a, like you said, more than the music. This also show different elements. Can you talk about that series and your ideas of that series and what's to come with that, or your ideas to come with that?
Definitely. So initially, I've been working on a documentary. Welcome to Chicago is that documentary. Kind of, it was helping me get information for a feature film I've been working on called Flacco. And I was basically interviewing people that I grew up around and getting their insight, what their perspective of was growing up in Chicago and in our neighborhoods. So now it kind of, Welcome to Chicago is morphed a little bit more, where in the future, once I pick that ball back up, because I dropped one episode, but basically I wanted to be episodic and have it follow other people in Chicago and what they're doing, other influencers. You know, it doesn't have to be musicians, but it could be painters, artists, you know, poets, people, other entrepreneurs, people that are doing, you know, dope, interesting people that aren't being highlighted, I feel. So that's one of the things that we're going to start doing here at Heart of the City, and we'll be releasing primarily through our website and through our Instagram, you know, live. I'm sorry, Instagram TV. Um, but yeah, so with Welcome to Chicago, we're just trying to highlight things that aren't necessarily being shown or showing another perspective, because I actually have an inside scoop and an inside lens with people who are here firsthand. Why not show that? Because when Vice comes here, or when WGN or CBS, whatever it may be, these bigger corporations, like, I feel like they kind of give watered down versions of what's actually happening. And they're always only giving one perspective. We're only seeing the violent part of it, and we don't see the people it's affecting. So I'm really trying to show that, and, you know, hopefully the youth and or adults, whoever, you know, may be able to change their lives and say, I want to do something more with my life, and this lifestyle, I want to give it up, because I've seen it firsthand within my family, and I believe people could be changed. So I don't think it's an unattainable goal. I feel like we just need education within the brown and Black community, because we've lost that. We've lost that sense of leadership. We lost that sense of pride and raising up men. And now, you know, people who, you know, are in gangs, because we know it's easy to fall into that. And at the end of the day, gangs are like a fraternity. It just was misplaced. And that initially, gangs weren't created to be destructive. It was meant to be uplifting and protecting the community. And unfortunately, it's morphed into something uglier than that. We gotta reclaim something and change people's minds and hearts, and try to, like, really reach people to do something more. And I believe it starts with now the youth. So we've been able to influence a lot of kids in the city to do media production. So, and I've been blessed to be able to be a teacher in many people's lives. And so now I'm like, okay, how could I do this on a bigger scale with my network and the people who are around me and my team? So that's something where we're looking forward to doing too in the future, with more youth programs and really bringing stuff to the community firsthand.
Absolutely, absolutely, and just one word you used that's super important and super powerful and just refreshing. You talked about people, you know, wanting people needing change, and people, you know, directing people into change and teaching them that change is possible. And that is something I feel like most, like you said, media outlets don't kind of try to picture. They don't try to grab that. They don't try to grab the fact that they can help, other than just capturing the image. You know,
Yeah, not at all. And like, even the comments that you read in some of these sections, like, people are really like stuck on, you know, if we're talking about what happened this week in Chicago with the 13-year-old Adam Toledo, they're basically demonizing this kid, and, oh, he deserved it because he was gang banging and he was, you know, a thug, as they say. And okay, you could label him that, and yeah, he was doing it. That's all facts, but it's like, you didn't even give this kid a chance to change. And I feel like, yeah, but, you know, it's a cautionary tale, unfortunately. Rest in peace to him, and condolences to the family. And it's a sad story that happens way too often in our city and in America right now. And a lot of people look at our city we influence the world. And so when you go to other places and you're from Chicago, they actually think we're gangsters, and we're not. You could just be a regular person, and, you know, we got this label on us that's all our city is. And when you come here and you live here, you know, it's not that. It's more than that. And unfortunately, that's just a product of what the city created when they created these segregated neighborhoods and put us into these boxes and put us against each other. Because that's what the reality is. We're just not educated on why are we at this point.
Absolutely, absolutely. And when you look at you talk about the documentary you're planning on doing, and of course the storytelling you're doing there. When I hear you speak about, like, City of God, and I hear you speak of of these kind of movies. I also think in my head like, man, JK is gonna be the one to bring a Chicago version of Paid in Full. You gonna do it for me, bro? Are you gonna do it?
It's coming. It's coming. I'm almost done with this script, bro. And I keep telling people that it's funny, but I'm at the final draft right now. And once we get a copywriting, I'm sending it to all the actors that I want involved. We're gonna figure out the music situation. We got tons of producers and musicians that are down, but
for sure.
Man, bro,
the soundtrack should be crazy for that.
The soundtrack's gonna be crazy. I gotta have it like American Gangster level, that kind of level, bro.
I mean, and bringing things full scope with that. I mean, American Gangster. I mean, the song you hear in the commercial for American Gangster is "Heart of the City."
That's crazy. I didn't even know that.
That's the song that's pretty much "Heart of the City" is played.
I didn't even know that. That's wild.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Crazy.
For sure. And when you talk about like the Heart of the City, of course, I mean you've worked with some of the great artists in Chicago, even going from Mikey Rock, to Sab. When you talk about these acts, like what's your opinion of the ever growing music scene, art scene, culture scene in Chicago right now?
I think it's beautiful, and we're not going anywhere. I keep running into more and more talented artists, and the artists who already pushed the needle forward, they haven't left either. They're still on the top. No one's dropped the ball. I feel like Chicago, we're going to continue to push the culture forward, and I think the labels are going to start moving out here, and the more studios are going to be out here. We're here. We're doing exactly what the labels and the studios in LA and New York are doing. So. And we've been doing that since, like I said, 18 when we didn't have a budget. Absolutely. And so now we're just working with what we got still. But by the grace of God, hopefully some of these bigger brands will see the potential in us and say these people deserve, our help, because we do need that here in Chicago. We need that for these different programs we want to do, these different creative ideas. I'm not the only filmmaker here, And so there's a lot of people with other stories that need to be told. So I'm hoping I could really break that door open and come through independently, Absolutely. Similar to how Chance did it in the music scene, just backdoored through the video scene and just really bring that light to the city in a positive way.
100%, man. And this being, we're still in the midst of this pandemic. We're still in the midst of the after effects of Corona hitting on the world. But in the midst of COVID, in the midst of the pandemic, man, you were able to open up shop, man. You opened up your studio, your storefront of Heart of the City, and you were selling out. You were selling out merch left and right, man. You had a great opening. Just talk about like that in the drive you had to produce that during the pandemic.
Yeah. When we've always had merch, but in this time period when the pandemic started, I was already doing two things that was different as far as services. One, I was doing rentals of the studio spaces. So we would do backdrop photography shoots, or if artists needed to do like shoots with just the space in general. And then the merch, I had a lot of these ideas in my mind, and I was actually working with this guy named Dondre from Almighty. He has a merch company as well. And Dondre helped me develop some of these earlier pieces to bring the embroidery to life. So he linked me with his embroiderer, and her name's Tina. Tina's been really doing all the embroidery from this to the joggers, everything. So meeting her was a blessing because she's great at what she does. She got the design on point, great prices, and I was able to really expand. And so when I launched the store, I always had a dream of launching a store and like having Heart of the City be like it. I no longer have the store at this very moment, but that experience was amazing. Like I was able to really meet new people and like see like the logo is it. A lot of people that bought the merch, some of them didn't even know I do video. So people were more people were just attracted to the theme and the logo, and even the events. We were doing pop-ups and we will collaborate with other brands. One of them was Dad Slush. My guys over there. I have a dope alcoholic slushie that they've been able to transform their brands and use that during the pandemic. And so we all collaborated, and it was beautiful because we were doing socially distanced events while giving people something to do, and we're doing it safely. So like, it's been a blessing with these events and the merch, because that's what kept me alive at that point. I'm not even gonna lie, like, you know, videos weren't really coming in that crazy at the time. A lot of people don't want to do videos because of COVID and whatnot. So you have it's been a wild time. So adjusting has been everything. And these two things, I've always wanted to continue doing the merch. So I have more ideas. This spring, I want to do long socks. I want to do basketball jerseys. Have a 90s theme idea I want to do. So it's some stuff that's about to come with the merch, man. So I'll be on the lookout.
Yes. When I saw you do the open the studio, I was like, man, that's dope. And then we just made the storefront, like, oh, bro, this Heart of the City is now officially a brand, and that's super powerful, bro. That's super powerful, man. Congratulations on that for sure, man. And what do you see next for Heart of the City? What's your plans in the near future? I know you mentioned the pieces you plan on dropping soon, but on a grand scale.
Yeah, so we are now called Heart of the City Media, and it's a more encompassing name to all the things we are offering and doing. So in the grand scale, we're going to be having films, our YouTube channel, where we'll have more of that documentary style content, music videos, and other live content. Our merchandise, like we mentioned already, the youth center. So Heart City University, I wanted to create a school within our campuses. So that's what Heart City University came about. And that's why I even did the merch for that. So I've been subconsciously preparing people for what I'm about to do with the company. And really, the youth stuff is really big on my heart right now, because everything that's happening in the city, I feel like I know a lot of these kids just need an outlet. You know I can't save everybody, but if I could change a couple people's lives, you know, why not? But yeah, those are the main things right now. And the spaces, continue building on spaces. We're doing a lot of set designs. We're really elevating our production game, and really just trying to compete with some of the best out there. And when people come to Chicago, hopefully they say they want to work with Heart of the City, and that's the goal right now. And hopefully we could become a staple as a brand, just as big as Disney one day. That's the goal.
Man, that's truly powerful, man. When you talk about, I want you to kind of shed light on the team a little bit. You say you have a team with you, and I know it can't be a one-man job going on there. I know you're a genius, bro. But I know it's a lot of work over there. So just talk about exactly, like, as far as like in your team, like the different things that need to be taking place. I think people, especially in this climate today, I think starting a brand is just building a website and that's it. It's nothing to it. But there's a lot of work being put involved in. Being an entrepreneur is not just working for self. It's a lot more to it than that.
Absolutely. Yeah, you have to learn how to trust, and you have to learn how to build with like-minded individuals, and be able to humble yourself and give people jobs that you might have done before, but maybe that person could do it better, and you're probably better off because you're able to focus on what you're good at. So for me, I had to learn those lessons, and like, yeah, we have a bigger team now, and I'm blessed because I have people that are doing animation. I have guys that are doing set design. I have guys that are helping out with, you know, cinematography. So if I want to just focus on directing, then I can just direct, even though I could shoot, you know, as well. But I've been blessed. You know, one of my guys, his name's Miguel Cisneros. He's an independent contractor I work with, but Miguel has his own company, and he's done a lot of stuff in the music industry, and now he does a lot of commercial work for ad agencies. So he's been mentoring me on the video side, so I've been blessed to work with him. He works with Hot Rod at Power 92. They do the Lip Pit and also Pep Rally Takeover. So we actually just did a 2K tournament at the store before we closed it, and we're probably gonna be doing more stuff, God willing, with Hot Rod, Pep Rally Takeover, and Miguel. So shout out to them and their team. It's been a super blessing, you know, being able to connect with them. Beyond that, yeah, we've been working on the set design stuff, and really now I'm trying to get more filmmakers, more young directors on the team. We have photographers. One of our photographers, Brandon Schutz, he's done a lot of dope stuff for a lot of people in the city. He's actually been featured in, I believe, the Chicago Tribune. Yeah, one of the newspapers in Chicago. But yeah, it's been a blessing to see a lot of these young guys really. Some of them I just have met in the past year, you know, but they've been a benefit and a blessing where, you know, some of these guys we worked for 3-4 years already, you know. It's just been a blessing right now, bro, having a lot of like-minded people.
Absolutely. How about upcoming, like any upcoming videos you watching out for, any upcoming projects out like that kind of way that you have coming up at all?
It's a great question. Well, the feature film Flaco, I think that's for me is the next goal. I'm about to go into artist mode. You know when rappers are like, "Oh, I'm in album mode."
About to go to hero, bro.
You know what I mean? Headphones on. I'm about to do that, to be honest, because I have to. But one person who I'm working with right now is QVRS, and we just dropped a project called Party House, and I've been doing project management with him right now and helping him build his brand as well. But we're dropping a new video called Limbo coming soon. But he's got a whole lot of new music. But right now, the current project that's out is called Party House. And his next project's going to be crazy. So he's someone I'm really excited for the world to hear on the music side. And yeah, man. So like those two things right there and a lot of new artists I'm going to be working with. I'm just excited for what's happening in general with the city. Like it's still so much momentum, and I feel like there's so many creatives here. You really can't go wrong. You know, you could do it from Chicago. You really can if you really want to.
Absolutely. And like you also doing things like with the studio, like you're offering studio time, like you said, for podcasters, you have studio time for many multiple things. Like talk about the idea to open the studio up for that kind of element.
Yeah. I moved here in 2017, and as soon as I came to the space, I'm like, we got to figure out how we could utilize this and make it, you know, work. But it was a slow start because it took a while to get to this point where we were like doing well with the rentals, with the space side. Because like in the beginning, I wasn't really getting any bookings, but I was doing some things wrong. And, you know, now I figured out how to like better promote the space, better pictures, you know, making sure the space looks clean when you take the pictures, a lot of little detail stuff that you might take for granted, you know, and really I learned how to do a lot of like working on the room with drilling and cutting. And so these are things that it's funny. I grew up watching my dad do that, but I never really was a hands-on handyman. So like now I've had to learn, and thank God, like the guys I have around me are very skilled and have been able to help me. My guys, Scoop, DJ Scoop and Chewy, those are the guys have been helping me on set designs. And so having them around has been a blessing. And my cousin actually designed this. This piece is an LED logo of the logo. So I could take that down and take that with me anywhere. So
that's fine. I thought it was a TV. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So having a lot of creative people around me that I'm able to learn from and be able to create these better versions of what we've been doing, you know?
Yeah, man, that's the thing I kind of learned while doing this podcast, like just knowing like you met these people you can network with, you can use them to help build, you can help build their brand and help build your own brand at the same time. That's why like when I was like, man, I need to interview JKs. Like it needs to happen. Like I mean, like one I felt like, man, JKs is like, you know, that's JKs. They did all these amazing videos that I'm a big fan of. But like, man, if you know somebody that you think has something they can do to help you and you can help them, reach out.
Yeah.
Never hurts, man. Never hurts. Because like
Absolutely.
even if I don't grow your fan base anymore, like what you're doing, you also you're getting your message across on a different platform, which is
absolutely
something I really, bro. Yeah, man, yeah. So like if you can plan out your next year going in 2022, like if you can idealistically, what project do you want to come out? What project of yours did you have coming up next are you looking forward to the most right now? Basically,
I would say Flacco, man. I've been working on that script for 10 years now.
man.
So I've been working on that since college, and it's been a slow burn with the writing process, but I think it was needed. Now I feel like I'm ready as a filmmaker to tell these stories and tell them at a high capacity where I'm hoping we win Sundance. I'm hoping we can start a bidding war with Netflix, Hulu, and HBO. You know, that's the goal. And
hey, bro, worst kind of worst, bro. Real talk. Just by seeing what's going on in the streaming world now, you by the end of next year, I can see you having a Heart of the City app and you putting a documentary there. I'm saying for people to buy.
Yeah,
I'm saying
that's possible
that
too.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's for sure. That's definitely possible. Yeah. So with that movie, I'm really excited to share that with the world. I feel like the world needs it right now, and there's no better timing with that. So beyond that, really the spaces as we move forward and continue to make adjustments and offer things that we weren't offering before, like I was mentioning the youth programs. I look forward to that. I feel like that's going to be really dope and be able to continue to mold the next generation of creatives, because I feel like the youth in our city, we're missing that outlet, and it's like, how do you expect these kids who aren't being let's like you have an appetite, and their appetite, they're not being fed correctly, you're not giving them the right nutrition, you know.
100%. And when you look into the youth center, the Heart of the City University, are you plan on teaching these kids like all kinds of arts, or you focusing more so on the video production, direction, stuff like that?
It will be multifaceted, so it will be like other people teaching other programs too. So and we'll also do like stuff. Yeah, and I want to do stuff for the adults too. So then we'll have like workshops for adults as well, different days. So yeah, I'm trying to work that out right now. There's a meeting this week. I'm checking out for becoming a CPS vendor, so I'm hoping that falls through. If that doesn't fall through, we're still going to move forward and figure it out. You know, we've been working with the John Wall Foundation as well, and Michelle, she's been a blessing, and the entire team. You know,
absolutely, that's family for sure, for sure. And I guess before I get you out of here, man, I gotta ask you, when it comes to directing, because like I said, I'm a big fan of your music direction, and I'm looking forward to what goes on as far as the movie and what's going on to continue to the docu-series. What are the biggest differences between making the three, directing the music video, directing the docu-series, and well, you haven't got into it yet, but I'm sure you have an idea of how you're going to approach directing a movie.
Man, it's the amount of time. I think they're all very similar as far as the planning. Because in every production you got pre-production, which starts with the idea / treatment or script, storyboarding, and the mood board. The mood board, basically you create your vision with like still images or screenshots from videos or sample videos that you like, and shooting, which is production stage, and then post-production, which is editing. So the process for those are all the same, you know. Now the approach for music videos, I listen to a song about 1,000 times plus. If I'm doing like a full-on treatment, if it's something that they're like, yo, just pull up, we'll just figure it out there, then we're getting a pull-up kind of video. Like, I tend to not want to do those anymore. I want to really push the creative limits. So those are kind of things I'm trying to avoid. Now, being a documentary filmmaker, I think it's really about being a fly on the wall and making sure like the kind of gear you have is you're able to have like a zoom lens on you, so that you're just kind of like zooming in on people and like capturing them on their natural environment, you know, while still be able to get wide shots. So that's like more on the nerd tip of being a filmmaker, but it's important to not be seen when you're doing documentary filmmaking. I feel obviously people see you with the cameras, you can't avoid that, but the more inconspicuous you are, the better, because then you're capturing people in their natural environment. Now feature film, I'm really excited to tackle that one, because that's gonna be a whole nother monster. I've watched a lot of behind the scenes on movies. Have I been on sets for movies? A couple short films. I haven't been on sets for like an actual feature film, but the amount of music videos I've been on sets for that have been at that production level and commercial work that I've been on that high production level, that the amount of planning it takes, I know I'm prepared for it. It's just a more amount of weeks that goes into shooting. And within the independent side, I'm most likely going to be investing into this movie. So I have to prepare myself as a producer to allocate the budget the right way and figure out what resources we have if we don't have a budget for certain things, or cutting down or cutting parts of the script down if it's not feasible to shoot anymore, or if it's not serving the story, you know?
For sure. Hey man, I'm gonna look out for all the casting calls. I'm saying I'm gonna try to get in there. You feel me? I'm gonna try to sign up. You feel me? But man, please tell everyone where they can find you, where they can support you, bro. Because man, J Caves is I didn't see you grind for the last like 10 years almost. I'm saying it's been an amazing ride so far, and I'm looking forward to it.
You just threw my age under the bus.
I say, hey man, we've been out here, bro. I didn't see you established nigga. What's that? 2012, 13? What year is that?
Yeah. It's going on. It's going on like 11 years, and now I gotta have an event or something because it's already been a decade. So I gotta do something. But yeah, you can find us at heartofthecity.media on Instagram. Heart of the City Media on Facebook, and you can find me personally at JAY_Caves on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. My real name, I'm not giving that out. Y'all gotta just find that one.
I'm saying. I'm saying.
But our website is HOTCmedia.com, and yeah, we're posting more actively. I try to get back to people. I'm bad at direct message when it comes to like responding quickly, so I'm more efficient via email. So if you guys are trying to contact us, hit me up via email.
Sure. And lastly, before I get you out of here, man, I gotta ask you, because you know I'm a bit of a music snob. I gotta ask you, man, what you listen to these days? What's in your rotation? I gotta know.
Man, this is biased because you know I got the guys that I'm working with. So right now, like I said, QVRS, Kevin Hughes, Dre Isaiah, Brittany Carter.
Brittany Carter's amazing.
Yeah, so Dre and Brittany are all on Loop Theory, which I'm actually working with Loop Theory out of New Space in the Logan Square studio. So that's shout out to Scheme. He manages them. So Navarro. Who else beyond them? Man, I'm trying to think. Vinny Dwayne. He's cold. So Vinny Dwayne. There's so many dope new artists, but I would say those right there, like that's the core of new artists that I've been listening to a lot, like, and very closely. You know, I think they got the talent to be the next ones to take the torch.
Man, that's super dope, bro. Man, I appreciate you taking the time to rap with me today, man. Anything else you want to get off your chest before we got out of here, man? Anything else you gonna promote?
Man, no, thank you guys. Appreciate you guys for, you know, holding us down and bringing me on the show. And keep doing your thing too, bro. And, you know,
appreciate you, man.
For sure. Appreciate you, bro.
Hey, man, love as always, man. Until next time, man, stay good in the hood, man.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Have a good one. Have a great day.
Love, bro. In the hood.